of truck drivers in Johannesburg have also taken part in a nationwide strike yesterday and says that the strike continues. But members will simply be staying at home. They met with Labour and Employment Minister Thulas Nxesi yesterday, accusing the employers of prioritising drivers who are not South African. On Newzroom Africa's Malungelo Booi is monitoring the proceedings in the city deep of Johannesburg. Malungelo, thank you very much for joining us here on Newzroom Africa once again. I mean, just looking at what has transpired since yesterday and the demands that the truck drivers have issued, I mean, what does it look like as it stands?
Hi there, Lizelle. In fact, we are at the City Deep truck stop. This is where, most of these truck drivers would normally come and take a break and rest before they proceed with their destinations. I can tell you now, there's over 50 trucks that are here and very few truck drivers. In fact, we're able to speak to one truck driver this morning who had just arrived here. He was here to collect the truck so that he can proceed to KwaZulu-Natal. He was telling me that he's actually very scared, and because of what has been happening. We know in some parts of the country we have seen some trucks being torched as a result of this strike. Of course, one of the things those protesting truck drivers or striking truck drivers have said they want government and the employer to address is the issue of hiring non-South Africans. They're saying that the industry employs 90% non-South Africans, and they're saying that that essentially cannot be right. As rightfully said, yesterday the truck drivers' leaders, they met with the employer and the Minister of Labour and Employment, Thulas Nxesi, where they were trying to find a solution essentially to the problem. After that meeting, though, when the leaders of the truck drivers returned here to tell them what the minister had, the outcome of that meeting, one of the things that came out in that meeting with the minister yesterday was that the minister is talking about a formation of a task team that will look into this matter, and also saying that there would actually be a need to change or to look into the legislation that sort of like governs how this sector works. And the truck drivers yesterday were clear that they were not satisfied with that response or with the outcome of the meeting with the minister yesterday, saying that as a result of that, then they will continue with this strike until really the minister and the employer address their concerns. So what we're seeing today is that there are leaders telling us that they've asked the striking truck drivers not to meet in public areas. Instead, they can simply just stay away because they don't want, they want to prevent the spread of COVID-19. Lizelle.
Yes, Malungelo, and also just looking at the costs incurred, and you mentioned that they will continue to be striking until, their demands are met, and they've obviously spoken to the Labour Minister to hear the outcries. I want to know from you, in terms of the impact of the strike, what it's had perhaps on delivery of goods and services, and even the routes affected across the country. I mean, what does that look like in particular?
Well, at this point in time, I think the industry can only tell us the impact that yesterday's strike or today's this continuing industrial action will have on them. I mean, if you in the past, I know last year, the sector was talking about losing about 1.2 billion rand when the truck drivers embarked on this strike. At this point in time, really, it's still not clear how much the sector has lost. We know, for example, I was looking I was looking on social media, and there was a post about a truck that was burning this morning in KwaZulu-Natal. And last year we also saw some of these trucks being torched, and that's why, in fact, one of the truck drivers that we're talking to this morning was saying to me he is actually scared of even taking the truck and traveling to KwaZulu-Natal because he does not know what he may meet along the way because of the strike action. Lizelle.
Our reporter Malungelo Booi, let's leave it there at the City Deep in Johannesburg, just updating us on the truck strike that, of course, is currently taking place nationwide as members continue to voice their demands in speaking with the Labour Minister, Thulas Nxesi.